take a drink. Perfect. Okay. So anyways, long story short, welcome to the Zoom tonight. I'm really, really glad that we were actually on a Wednesday tonight instead of a Thursday. That makes it so much easier. However, Thursdays work good too, so it doesn't really matter either way. But I know that there's been so many Zoom calls that have just been seriously fire recently. So I just want to make sure you guys are on every single one that's on like Wednesdays and Thursdays and stuff. And when there's like tons of them back to back to back, the last couple of weekends, there were some that were like some diamond and above calls that I had to be on. And then there were some calls that was recommended for my team to be on. So I was like, okay, well, we'll make sure that we flip it around so that everybody can be on all of them. And there's nothing like being on an actual live video, like being on an actual live Zoom where you get to interact, you get to put things in the chat, you get to ask questions right on the Zoom live. You get to interact with people on the Zoom and all that good stuff. Plus, I feel like the energy is always higher on the actual Zoom call rather than watching the replay on YouTube. So that's why I always recommend get on the Zoom calls if you can. I know myself, there's sometimes where they're doing a Zoom call where it just does not match my schedule at all. And there's no way for me to flip it around. And that does happen sometimes. So give yourself some grace and understand that as long as it's recorded or as long as it actually records, then you should be good. I know my Zoom calls are wishy-washy. So just so you guys know, if you don't hop on them, sometimes I forget to record them and then sometimes they just don't record. So we just got to do what we got to do in order to make it happen. And thankfully our Zoom calls are at a great time where, you know, every time zone can match up and link up with it. And it's usually after bedtime for most people, or it's like wind down time for most people. So, all right. So I am actually talking about leadership again tonight. And so I'm really, really excited about this because this is going to be revolved around the mindset behind leadership in general. And this is going to help you not only with leading yourself, but it's also going to be really good for when you start your own team, or if you have your team already starting to establish, it's going to help you with everything. So make sure you get out a pen and a piece of paper, something that you can write down, take down some notes with, because this is absolutely going to help. And I've got 9 different things on my checklist. And we're trying to get it done as quickly as we can, but I want to make sure that I pack it full of everything that you need to lead this Zoom call today and be able to lead someone else and be behind the mindset of a leader. And so we're going to start digging right in right now. So the number one thing that I have on my list, these are 9 different tips on leadership. And these all have to do with the mindset of being a leader. Okay. The first part is to give your downline grace and understanding. This is something that when I first started this business, I was a super fire red and I had a really hard time with. It was like, I wanted this business to work so bad for my own family and for my own reason why I was doing this, that I bulldozed over other people. And I got very upset when other people did not see the vision that I had seen. And it was almost like, how do you not see this? Like, how do you not see how much money you can make? How do you not see that you could just fit this business into this area, or fit it into this area? Or how do you not see that this would be better than what you're doing right now? Or this could be easier than what you're doing right now, right? It was like I bulldoze over people, you know? And so through that journey of trampling over other people to get to where I needed to be, I grew and started learning that this is the reason why, that was the reason why there were so many people that were coming and going and coming and going and coming and going. I've literally signed over 700 distributors. And out of those 700 distributors, my team is like not even a quarter of that. Okay. Not even a 16th of that, I would say. And it's all because a lot of the people that I signed were early on in my business, and it was like a high turnover rate. And it was a high turnover rate because I didn't understand I didn't understand how to give other people grace. I didn't understand that everybody's got their own lives that are going on and they've got their own journey that they're walking on, right? We may be walking on the similar road and a similar journey because we're all working this business and we're all fitting it into our days, but everybody's got different lives. And when it doesn't mean that they can't do the same thing that you're doing. It just means that their mindset has not gotten to where your mindset mindset is yet, right? And some people are even further in mindset than you are in. So it's so important to understand that when you are working this business and you're helping other people, that they are on their own journey. And you can't look at them and talk to them like they are on chapter 15, when in reality, they're only on chapter 2. And their mindset is, and that chapter might be a little bit longer because there's a lot more life happening within that. There's a lot more growth happening within that chapter. There's a lot more things that are going on. And so they are walking through it and growing through those things. And so just understanding that everybody's going to have their own time frame. They're not everybody's going to jump in and they're going to be like all in. Not everybody's going to be like wildfire. And I think back to when I first started, right? And I didn't do anything for the first 4 months of my business. And I remember my upline looking at me and saying, or not looking at me, technically she was over the phone, but she wrote me and she said, I'm going to quit because nobody on my team is working. And here I am literally on the grind, like hustling for this emerald. And she had no idea that I was going for emerald and that I was pushing for it. And I made it to emerald. And she said that to me right after I made it to emerald, which is the 3rd rank in our company, if you didn't know that. But I worked my butt off to get there. And so this is where giving other people grace and understanding that everybody is in different seasons of their life. Just because I didn't take off within my first 4 months didn't mean that I wasn't going to be a diamond. It just meant that I was going to take a little bit longer because my mindset wasn't even at a ruby at that point yet, right? My mindset was not at a ruby. It was not at an emerald yet. And that's why I wasn't able to acquire that rank, because your rank advancement is based on your mindset. Your mindset, wherever you are in the ranks in this business or wherever you are with your accomplishments in this business has to do with your mindset. It's whatever you're telling yourself every day. It's whatever you're telling yourself that you can do. It's whatever you're telling yourself that you can't do. It's whatever you're telling yourself that your team can do or can't do. It's whatever you're allowing to come into your circle, whatever negativity you're hosting or allowing other people to bring to your attention. It's whatever positivity you're allowing people to bring to your attention. You know, it's all about your mindset. And so not everybody has the skill to be disciplined yet. Not everybody has the ability to set boundaries when they first come in. Not everybody has the ability to or the skill or the will to love themselves or like love, you know, just have that drive to be able to find their why yet. They're searching for it. And their journey is based on them. So giving other people grace is super, super important. Everybody's going to go through their highs. They're going to have their lows. They're going to have their mountains. They're going to have their valleys. And your job as a leader is just to walk through it with them. It's not to say, hey, like, you can't do this because you're in a valley, or, hey, I can't work with you because you're going through some crap, right? Like, it's all about walking through them, like walking with them through the valleys and walking with them to the mountaintop, even if it's hard for them, even if they're going through crazy stuff, right? As long as they allow you to walk with them, walk with them. If they allow you to run with them, right? And so giving them grace is super important. So that's number 1. Number 2 is that a leader is a listener. Leaders listen to other people. So leaders will sit there and they will ask you how you're doing. They will ask you how your day is going. They will, they'll have those conversations like Ashby was talking about before we got on this call and everything. Like, I will sit there with her and have that conversation after this call, like leaders will sit there and they will listen to you. They will work to try to understand what's going on. They will ask questions. They will reach out to you. They will, they are your people who they won't host or entertain negativity, but they will try to figure out how we can fix things. And the best way to figure out how to fix it is to listen to what the actual problem is. Leaders are problem solvers. And so we've got to figure out where you're at, why you're there, where you want to go, and how you're going to get there. And so, so we've got to understand our downlines why. We've got to know exactly why they want something, where they want to be, and why they want to be there. right? Who is connected to that? Is it because their kids? Is it because their husband? Is it because of they want their own independence? Is it because they want to be able to do this or they want to be able to do that? Like, what is the real reason behind why they're working this business? If you don't know your downline's why or reason why, and you don't know the solid reason behind it, then chances are you're never going to be able to actually connect and listen and help inspire them to keep going, right? Like, you're not going to be able to repeat that vision to them and feed it to them every single day. We are the helpers in creating that vision. And so when you have someone that's on your team, we should be going over their why, figuring out why they want something. When they pivot and their life changes or they have a major event in their life that shifts everything, we should be the ones who are getting in there and saying, okay, so what's the next plan? Like, what's the next goal? Where are we heading now? Because once we figure out, okay, well, life didn't happen this way, so let's pivot and go this way instead. We are the leaders that show them that vision again and again and again. We're the ones who repeat it to them when it's hard for them to repeat it to them for themselves. And then we are also the people who break things down for them. So if someone comes to me and they say, well, I need to be able to pay my light bill because my lights are going to get shut off and I'm stressed out every single day, and my kids need to make sure they can take a shower, and my husband's trying as hard as he can to pay the bill, but it's just not cutting it, right? Right then and there, that's an emotional thing that they need that electricity on, right? For their family. And so how am I going to break that down for them? I'm going to break it down with our bonuses. I'm going to break it down with how much we make residually. I'm going to say, okay, this is how we're going to pay the light bill every single month. And I'm going to break that down right into the 4-in-1, which is like this paper right here. I just taught someone the other day. Whoops, I don't know if you guys can see it, but the 4-in-1 papers, and I'll post this in the chats too, but I break it right down for them and I show them, okay, when you get these customers and this distributor, this pays for this. When you get this customer and this distributor, this pays for that. Sometimes they don't have the ability to break that down for themselves. And so it's so important when you get a new distributor in to understand that they need that broken down for them. They need someone to show them the map, because they don't know what the map is supposed to look like. And a lot of the times they know where they want to go and they say, well, I want to go to, do this. I want this, or I want my life to look like that. But they're unsure on how this business is actually going to do that for them. So breaking it down for them when they allow you to break it down for them is so important. So that's kind of number 2 in a nutshell. It's listening, it's knowing, it's getting that vision so that you can repeat that vision again and again. Number 3, we are the ladder holders. And I know I talked about this on my last Zoom call. And if you missed that last Zoom call, it was not recorded, unfortunately, because it was a mess up technical issues and stuff like that. But what I mean by the ladder holder is that we as leaders are either going up that ladder ourselves and going ahead of them, which is important, or we've already gotten up to that ladder and we've already gone to the place that they want to go to. And now our job is to be at the bottom of that ladder, holding the ladder for them and coaching them to take that one step after another, after another, after another, right? We are the cheerleaders. We are the people who are telling them, put your foot there. Okay, now put your foot there. Okay, now put your foot there, right? So as a leader, you have to be willing to break things down to your team. You're not going to look at your downline or someone who just comes onto your team and say, now you do this and this and that and this and that and this and that. That's overwhelming, right? Drop a 1 in the chat if that would be overwhelming for you, because I know that would be overwhelming for me. So what we do as ladder holders is we say, okay, let's go get this step done. And when we're done with this step, we'll look at the next step. And when we're done with that step, then come back to me. And then they'll come back to you and you'll say, okay, let's do this next step. So I do this thing, it's called playing ball. It kind of ties into ladder holding, okay? It's when I'm teaching someone how to get started, I break it down into little bite sizes for them. And I do this by throwing them the ball and saying, hey, okay, let's do this. We're going to go learn host to post. Are you ready? So I'm throwing them the ball. I'm asking them that question. I'm inviting them to send that ball back to me. They're saying, okay, I'm ready. They throw the ball back to me. I say, okay, let's go to your Facebook page, and we'll click on your friends list. Tell me when you're there. Okay, I'm throwing them the ball, and I'm saying, I'm inviting them. Tell me when you're there. So when they're there, they're gonna throw it back to me. They're gonna say, okay, I'm there. I'm gonna say, okay, let's take this message and we're gonna send it to this person, this person, this person. Message me back as soon as you're done. So I'm throwing the ball back to them, and I'm inviting them to throw it back at me. So they say, okay, I'm done. Okay, now take this one, send it to that person, message me back when you're done. Okay, I'm there, right? So I'm throwing that ball back and forth to them again and again and again. I just want to give you that visual. That's why I was like, using my hands and everything. But when it comes down to it, we've got to make sure that every single thing that we teach them, we are breaking it down into bite sizes, because they will not understand if you tell them, do this, do that, do that. And if you give them a list and you say, okay, you need to get 10 people to post for you. You need to add 150 people. You need to send this many messages. You need to post on Facebook. You need to, update your story. You need to go interact with people and stuff like that. They're going to be so confused, right? I would be confused. I know that much. I need it broken down for me. So if myself as a diamond leader of 2 different accounts, right? If that would confuse me, then what do you think it's doing to your new distributor? They need that broken down for them. They need small steps going up that ladder, instead of saying, all right, Ashby, let's jump to the top. Let's go. Jump to the top. This is how you do it. Jump to the top, right? That's overwhelming. I'm going to break it down. I'm going to say, okay, this is what we're going to do. And when you're done, come back to me. And then this is what we're going to do. When you're done, come back to me, right? Not only am I breaking it down, but I'm cheering them on the entire way. I'm showing them how to do it as they go. I'm talking to them. I'd run. So, we're breaking it down for them as they go into smaller steps, so that they're not having to jump to the top of that ladder. Because if they feel in any way, shape, or form that they have to jump to the top of that ladder and they have to know everything, they're as good as gone. They're going to look at that ladder and they're going to say, damn, I can't get up to the top of that like that. My legs aren't that long. They're going to start making up excuses and choosing their limited beliefs again and again and again. But if you break it down into small wins for them, it's going to allow them to win and win and win and win and win, right? And as you're cheering them on, they're going to keep getting wins, and that's what's going to keep them there, okay? So that's number 3. And number 4, we set the pace. If they are brought into this business with the hustle, they won't know any different than the hustle. They won't know what it looks like to slack off. They won't know what it looks like to make excuses. They won't know what it looks like to stop or pause or sit or do nothing or take a few days off, right? They will only know the hustle if all you show them is the hustle, right? And then whatever they do after that, if you're showing them the hustle consistently and they are choosing to back down, they are choosing to stop for a weekend, they are choosing to not work their business or do the things every single day, that has nothing to do with you. It has to do with their own mindset, their own beliefs. And once again, you go back to giving them grace. Number 1, give them grace, because they don't understand what they don't see yet. When you know more, you do more. So once they get to that point where they know what you're talking about and they see what you're talking about, there is no way they're going to sit there and take an entire weekend off. There's no way they're going to sit there and they are going to not work their business for a whole day and say, well, I'll just pick up tomorrow. There's no way. But at first, they don't know. They can't see what you see. They don't understand what you're understanding. They don't see the potential in themselves that you see in them. So you've got to give them that grace, and you've got to set that pace for them. And you've got to say, the pace has always been just like this. The pace has always been 10 halves up every single day. It's never stopped. It's never faded. It's never slowed down. It just 10 halves, 10 halves, 10 halves, right? There is no, oh, well, if you didn't get 10 halves up, well, let's try 5. No, let's keep going 10. Let's keep going 10, because that is where they're going to push themselves every single day. The pace never slows down. They have to climb and meet it themselves, right? So you are setting that pace for your downline when you bring them in with that hustle, right? They won't know if they can ride. And I wrote this down specifically because I love analogies, but they won't know if they can ride a bike if you're consistently putting training wheels on them, right? Ooh, that's so good. They won't know if they can ride the bike if you consistently keep putting training wheels on them. So like, I think about my daughter, for example, riding her bike. When she got old enough to the point where I was like, yeah, no, she can absolutely learn how to ride a bike, we took those training wheels off. Was she terrified? Yeah, she was. But I saw the potential in her before she saw it in herself. I told her, you can absolutely ride a bike. I know you can ride this bike. You can make that happen. I stood at the end of the driveway and I looked at her in the face at the other end of the driveway and I said, Bailey, get on the bike, focus on mom, look at me and ride to me. And it took her a couple times. Did she fall? Yes, she did. Did she get down? Did she scrape her knees up? Did she cry? Did she scream? There was a couple times where she walked her bike over and threw her bike up against the house and stormed inside. But guess what? 20 minutes later, she came back out and she came to me and she said, I want to learn how to ride, right? She got back on that bike again and again. It was 2 days and she learned how to ride that bike. So this is exactly what we're doing with our downline. We are setting the pace for them. We're showing them where to focus. We're telling them, focus on where I'm going. Focus on where I am right now, right? Do you want this? Do you want to live that life? Do you want to hustle? Okay, let's focus. Focus on what I'm telling you. Focus what I'm sharing with you. Watch me. Don't watch everybody else around you. Don't watch what daddy's doing. Don't watch what Bo's doing. Don't watch what everybody else is doing, right? And same with your downline distributors. Don't listen to what your mom's saying. Don't listen to what your husband's saying. Don't listen to all the BS that's going on around you. Don't listen to all the people who are telling you can't do it, right? Focus on me. Focus on what's coming out of my mouth right now. You can do it. You are capable. You are 100% worthy of the success. You are 100% worthy of being financially stable. You are 100% worthy of having all your ducks in a row and living your best life and setting up a legacy for your kids, right? Everything else that's on the outside, you've got to put your blinders on. You've got to focus on where you're going, not on everything else. So that's kind of what you're doing with your downline distributors when you set the pace for them. You're not ever telling them, okay, well, let's put your training wheels back on. When you set that pace and you say 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, you are allowing them to keep getting up and trying again without telling them, oh, well, you're not capable of getting those 10 hosts to post up, right? Oh, you're not capable of getting those 4 customers and a distributor every single month. You're not capable of doing that. You're telling them you are capable of doing it. You've just got to grow to that point. You've got to become strong enough and wise enough so that you can do it every single day. You are helping them stretch by setting that pace for them at 10 every single day and coaching them and guiding them to that 4 customers and 1 distributor every single month at the least, right? So it's not that you slow down, it's that they learn how the muscle to show up and show out just like you are, okay? So I hope that helps. Number 5 is we walk with the walkers and we run with the runners, okay? This is a very similar topic to what I was just talking about. This means that those who are hustling and running, you run with them. You stretch them, you coach them, you guide them, you push them, you share with them a vision that's bigger than what they're even going for to help stretch them even more and even more, right? Just a little bit further so that they land at their goal, okay? People who are walking, those are the people that you have to give grace and help them grow. Does this mean that you set the bar down here for them? No. You keep setting it at the same exact pace, but you just keep saying, let's keep trying. Let's keep trying, right? These are your people that it might end up being a little bit more, you're doing an awesome job. You're killing it with that. praising them for getting their host post up that day, praising them or shouting them out for getting a customer that day, praising them, shouting them out for adding, getting their Facebook friends list up to 5,000 that day, right? Like, you're shouting them out for the smaller things, but in a long run, it's going to help them and stretch them and show them to pick up the pace. So you're walking with the walkers and then you're running with the runners. And so does this mean that you slow down at all? Absolutely not. You're not slowing down to the pace of the walkers. You're keeping that same pace as the runners and you're encouraging those walkers to run. But if they are choosing to walk, that has nothing to do with you. Your job is just to be a mentor for them. Your job is just to guide them to and believe in them enough so that they become a runner one day, right? They have to get their mindset up to that level. It's not that you lower yourself to their level. It's that you encourage them, you love them, you care about them, you listen to them, you teach them, you coach them, you do all the things, but you put your runners on your chart. You put your runners on your list of your people who you're like, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, right? So there's two different paces on it. And then obviously the third pace is just nothing. And that's not someone that you're gonna entertain throughout the business. So you wanna make sure that if you've got someone that's in your circle that is kind of paused and not doing anything or not moving or not budging, you love them and you care about them, but you cannot drag people. It's like if you had two horses, one was laying on the ground taking a nap all the time and one was up and willing to move forward, who are you going to spend the time trying to bring to the water? Are you going to try to keep dragging that dead horse and ignoring that walking horse? Whereas that walking horse doesn't know where to go, that walking horse is going to end up dying off because you're spending too much time with the horse that's laying on the ground doing nothing, right? You've got to know who to give your time to. Do you give your time to this person? You give your time to this person, right? So I think that's super important to know. And at one point in my business, I did drag the dead horse. And I was that person who would sit there and say, get up, you got this, get up. And they were sitting there taking a nap. They weren't even hearing what I was saying, right? And meanwhile, all the walkers and all the runners that were on my team, the ones that were willing to be led to the water, I was putting a blind eye to them because I just wanted it so badly for that one that was taking a nap on the ground, not even paying attention to what I was doing, right? So you got to know who to give your time with. Don't waste your time on people who are not doing anything. Don't waste your time on sitting there and the people who are laying down taking a nap. They'll come around eventually if they want it, and if they don't want it, they won't. And that is literally how cut and dry it is in the world of success and just helping other people. Okay. Number 6. Have you guys ever heard that saying, the pace of the leader is the pace of the pack? Just drop a 2 in the chat if you ever heard that before. The pace of the leader is the pace of the pack. I want to share with you something that I read in a book. It was like a leadership book by John Maxwell. And I can't remember exactly which one it was. I have to make sure I go back and I read it. But anyways, just want to make sure I copyright talk about who it was from. It was from John Maxwell. And he said that the pace of the leader is not the pace of the pace of the pack is not the pace of the leader, right? The pace of the pack is the pace of the slowest person on the team. Okay. Why do you think that is? Have you guys ever heard that saying that you are the sum of the 5 people that you surround yourself with? This is very similar to that saying. And what he was saying in this book is he was talking about how when you've got a group full of people, like let's just say a team full of people, right? A team chat, a team page, a group full of people working together, and you've got one negative Nancy, or you have one person who is doing absolutely nothing and they're complaining and they're crying about how nothing is happening for them, right? It gives all the other people who are trying to run this pit in their stomach, this feeling of like, I don't want to even respond. I don't even want to read things like this, right? Or whatever. And so just understand that when you've got something like that happening, one, this is why we do group chats that are invite only. These group chats are only for positive people. And when someone starts being negative, we don't allow those people into the circle, right? This is why in your group chats, you have to be approved to be in the group chats, right? And the leaders and the the higher ups and not the higher ups, but like the ambassadors, the diamonds, the stuff like that, those are your people who are yeah, absolutely, negative can spread like wildfire. And so that's why you've got people who are monitoring the chats, monitoring the team pages. It's not necessarily to kick anybody out, it's to keep your runners and your hustlers and the people who are growing safe from those negative people. It's a safe space for those positive people to go and to work and hustle and grow their mindset and love themselves and love other people and things like that. And it keeps the negative Nancy's out, right? So when it comes to, you know, you're going to have people who are going to be negative that are on your team. You're going to have people who are going to be squatters, people who sit there, people, the dead horse who sits there and does absolutely nothing. Those people who are consistently saying that things aren't working or whatever. You're going to have at least one person at some point in your business who you feel like it's like you're dragging yourself to message them. You're dragging yourself to talk to them and stuff like that. You just got to understand that the best way to outweigh that negativity is to get loud about the positivity. So if your downline is hearing more positive stuff and more exciting stuff and more things that make them excited and more things that make them happy and more things that make them feel good and more personal development consistently, then they are going to easily tune out any negativity that comes their way, right? Or any problematic things that come their way. So getting loud in your chats, getting loud with your team, getting loud about the exciting things that you're doing, getting loud about where you're going, getting loud about what you're doing for your business, getting loud about your personal development, the things that you're going through. You ever notice that a lot of your leaders will like put quotes in the group chats? They'll post, random videos that are like, helping you grow your mindset. They'll post random little snippets of something that they learned in their personal development. It's because we're getting loud about our growth and our mindset because we want you to be able to do that yourself as well. We want you to be able to be around positivity and not the negativity. So that's number 6, is making sure that you understand that having the negative Nancy's, it's better off to get loud about it, and then when needed, cut those ties so that you're not holding down everybody else. Okay. Number 7 is mindset is everything. We are mentors at the end of the day. We, in this business, we don't coach people just in making money. We coach them through their mindset, because success is 80% mindset, 20% skill. Okay. If just knowing that alone, you know that the reason why you are where you are in this business is not because you don't know what you're doing. It's not because you don't have the resources. It's not because you don't have a checklist every single day that you can go off of. It's all because of what's in your mind. It's what you're telling yourself every day. It's the people you're allowing yourself to be surrounded by. It's the things that you're saying to yourself consistently. It's the excuses that you're making up in your head. It's the non-excuses that you're making up in your head, right? Like it's the why that you're following, and whether you're drawn to it or not, or whether you're allowing your past self or your past experiences to pull you down. Like, these are all things that we allow or we don't allow. You're either doing it or you're not doing it. There is no gray area, right? You're either doing it or you're not doing it. And there is no in between. And so our mind is such a powerful thing in this, because we're either talking ourselves into it or we're talking ourselves out of it. Which one are you going to be every day? Now, we are mentors in this department. So as a leader, it is our job to help our downline with mindset. Like, how many of you guys really knew that, like, anything about mindset when you first started this business? Drop a 2 if you knew nothing about mindset, had no idea what was going on. Maybe you knew a little bit, but it was nothing to the extent of what we do in this business. Maybe you knew about reading books. Maybe you knew about, podcasts. Maybe you knew something, but there was nothing like this business. I see 2, 2, 2, right? So when it comes to it, none of us know about mindset when we first start this business. All of us were in the same exact boat. We were all struggling in our life. And the reason why we were struggling in our life was because our mindset was struggling. Your income will never surpass your mindset. Make sure you write that down. Your income will never surpass your mindset. So if you want to make a certain amount of money, like let's just say you want to make a $8,000 a month paycheck from your phone, but your mindset is still at a $500 a month from your phone, chances of you getting there are slim to none unless you start growing your mindset. You've got to grow to go up. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It has to happen. You can't make a level 10 income when you're at a level 2. You've got to grow. There's growth in between. There's setbacks, there's failures, there's maturing, there's gaining your consciousness, there's understanding, there's forgiveness, there's healing, there's so much in between that you've got to go through in order to get to where you want to be. So as a leader, we are the ones who have to guide people. So what I like to do when my team gets started for the first time, like when someone gets started on my team for the first time, the first thing I introduce them to is a book about the industry in general. And that book does touch base on personal development. And then also, after they're done with that book, which we usually set a time frame with each book, we say, okay, let's get this done by this date. And then when they're done with it, they come back to me when they're done. It's just like playing ball. When you're done with it, come back to me, right? And when they're done with that one, they come back to me and say, I need another one, right? And then we just keep playing ball back and forth. Let's set another date for this one. Let's set another date for that one. I'm helping lead them through their personal development journey so that they can get to that level 10 income that they're looking for when they first come in. Because most people don't realize that they're at a level 2 mindset. Most people don't realize that they're at a rock bottom mindset. Most people just think that that's just how life is, right? So it's our job to teach them what that next level of mindset can bring them, and what the next level of mindset can bring them, what the next level of mindset can bring them. And so I'm consistently helping them with, one book after another. I'm sending them podcasts every single morning. Hey, I listened to this. Check this out too, right? Hey, I listened to this. It reminded me of you. Check this out. Hey, I listened to this morning, or I read this morning. Check it out. Let me know what you think. I'm consistently feeding that to my team in my individual chats, in my team chats, and my team pages, going live on Facebook, doing the things just to help other people grow their mindset. Because the more they grow their mindset, the more their income is going to grow. And that's part of leadership. It's about giving them the growth and helping them along that growth journey to help them see the bigger picture. When they see the bigger picture, they have a bigger vision for their life. They can't see that bigger vision until they start growing their mindset to see bigger, right? They have to become more conscious so that they can see more that has happened in their life and how they get from one point to the other, okay? So that's number 7. And we only got 2 more left. Number 8 is knowing that everyone cannot stay on your bus. You have to be willing to allow people to get off your bus as a leader. There is going to be multiple people that are going to come into your business and they're going to stay and they're going to love it. And they're going to be like, man, I would pay $99 again and again if it just meant I could grow my mindset the way that I'm growing it, right? Or I would pay $99 again and again if it just meant that I could have the friendships that I have on this team. Okay. But there's going to be some people who come onto your team and they're going to come in and they're going to work for a little while and then they're going to quit. And your job as a leader is not to hold them. You can't ratchet strap every single person to the seat on the bus. You've got to let them go. You've got to allow people to come in and go out and come in and go out so that you can find your people. And death gripping people so that they don't get off your bus is just making it so that that next person who's sitting there waiting, anxious, eager, excited to get on your bus, there's no space for them until this person that's dragging the bus down gets off the bus. You have to be willing to allow them to step off the bus so that you can allow people in that are willing to go with you. Okay. So if someone is sitting there, they're dragging, they're sleeping on the bus, they don't really know where they're going, they're just kind of sitting there doing nothing the entire time. If you don't allow them to get off your bus when they really want to get off the bus, or they're not wanting to stay on the bus, right? Then you're allowing them to take up space that could be used for those people who are so excited to be on your bus and are willing to go on that bus with you to the final destination, right? So I hope that that one helps. That was a great analogy that Ashley Mayfield had shared in her podcast. So if you've never listened to it, go to Ashley Mayfield's podcast. And she's got one that's literally labeled as allow people off your bus. And then she's got one that says allow people to get on your bus. So that's a really good one. Number 9, this is the last one, is that, and this is like one of the most important, okay? You cannot tell someone to do something that you are not doing yourself. You cannot tell someone to do something that you are not willing to do yourself. As leaders, we cannot sit there and tell people you've got to push for 10 host posts every day if we are not pushing for 10 host posts every single day. You can't tell your downline distributors that they have to post at least once about business or product every day, whether it be in their story, on their Facebook, TikTok, whatever, if you're not willing to share about your product or your business at least once every single day. When you become a leader, leadership does not mean leading other people. Leadership starts with us. I became a leader when I started leading myself. When I started showing up for myself every single day. When I started doing the host post myself, when I started choosing who I spend my time with, when I started finally taking the reins and working my business every single day, when I decided to start researching things and looking things up, when I started reaching out to my upline and saying, hey, I need help with this, right? I became a leader when I started advocating for myself and when I started working for myself. Now, I'm still a leader after I start leading other people, but it begins with me. So we have to make sure that if we are asking our team to do something, if we are telling them, hey, make sure you're showing up on the Zoom calls. Hey, make sure that you're, getting your 10 host posts up every single day. Hey, make sure we're learning a little bit more every single day about time management, or we're helping guide them in that direction. We have to be willing to practice what we preach and doing the things that we're doing every single day. So if you have someone that signs on your business and they're not doing a certain thing every single day, you don't ever want them to be able to come back and say, hey, well, you're not doing it, so I guess I'm not going to do it either, right? We want to practice what we preach. And of course, there'll be days where days are hard. Crazy stuff happens, life gets in the way, stuff like that. But giving your all to make it happen is what it takes. And showing up and showing out, making sure you're keeping in contact with that downline, making sure that you're talking with them every single day, making sure that you're sharing with them what you're doing, getting loud about where you're going, getting loud about what you're doing, getting loud about the personal development and the growth that you're doing, getting loud about the promotions that you're going for and why you're going for them. The louder you get, the more they're going to start to follow you, right? So I hope that helps you guys. That was number 9. That was the last one that I had. I did record this. As long as it saves, it will be up on YouTube tonight. I appreciate you guys hopping on. I love you guys so much, and I hope you have a great night.